Hi everyone, this is Raquel Gomez, and this is my presentation on adolescent pregnancy. First, I'm going to go over the statistics of adolescent pregnancy. So some statistics are 1 in 3 American teenage girls will become pregnant. African American teenagers are 3 times more likely to become pregnant, and Hispanics are 4 times more likely to become pregnant. Some trends in teenage pregnancy and childbearing is in 2016, there were 20.3 births for every 1,000 females ages 15 to 19, which means there was 209,809 babies were born to adolescent females between the ages of 15 and 19. Births to these teens ages 15 to 19 account for 5.3% of all births in 2016. 9 out of 10 of these births were out of wedlock. The teenage birth rate of 2016 was down 9% in comparison to 2015. Overall, it is down 67% from 1991 when it is at a record high of 61.8. Over the past quarter of the century, the birth rate has been slowly declining. The U.S. teen birth rate is in the highest in comparison to other developed countries like Canada and the United Kingdom. It is important to note that not all of these teen birth rates are first births. In 2016, 1 in 6, which is 17%, of births from 15 to 19-year-olds were at least the second birth. In the U.S., about 34% of adolescent girls between the ages of 15 and 19 are pregnant. While this statistic focuses on the United States in general, studies have found that the birth rate of babies to adolescent mothers is significantly higher in the South and Southwest. This map shows how true this statistic is. If you look at the southern states, like Arkansas, Texas, and Alabama, they have a higher birth rate than that of the Northeast. Variations in birth rates across populations. Teen birth rates differ substantially by age, race, and ethnic group, and the region of the country. Most adolescents who give birth are 18 or older. In 2016, 74% of all teen births occurred to 18 to 19-year-olds. Birth rates are also higher among Hispanic and African American adolescents than white or Caucasian adolescents. In 2016, Hispanic adolescent females aged between 15 to 19 had a higher birth rate than African American adolescents females and Caucasian adolescent females. To put all these numbers in perspective, estimates from 2013 show that 8% of white adolescent females will give birth by their 20th birthday, while 16% of African American adolescent females and 17% of Hispanic adolescent females by their 20th birthday. So you can see how this statistic proves that it's a big difference among ethnic groups, because 8% of Caucasian adolescent females will give birth by their 20th birthday in comparison to 16% of African American females and 17% of Hispanic females, and that's a huge difference in numbers. The national teen pregnancy rate, which is the numbers of pregnancy per 1,000 females ages 15 to 19, has declined almost continuously over the last quarter of the century. The teen pregnancy rate includes pregnancies that end in live birth, as well as those that end in abortion or miscarriage. The teen pregnancy rate declined by 63% in less than 25 years, from 117 pregnancies per 1,000 females ages 15 to 19 in 1990 to 43 in 2013. According to recent research, this decline is due to the combination of increased percentage of adolescents who are waiting to have sexual intercourse and the increased use of effective contraceptive by teens. About 77% of teen pregnancies are unplanned. In other words, they are unwanted or occurred too soon, according to the National Survey of Adolescents. In 2013, the majority of pregnancies to adolescent females ages 15 to 19 in the U.S., which is an estimated 61%, ended in live birth. 15% ended in miscarriage, and 25% ended in abortion. The rate of abortions among adolescents is the lowest since abortion was legalized in 1973 and is 17% lower than its peak in 1988. And this map just shows like the total of teenage pregnancies versus white females, and then African American females and Hispanic, and you can see how big that gap is. Now I'm going to discuss some impacts of teen pregnancies in schools. So impacts in schools. Teen pregnancy leads to school dropout. In addition, young women who drop out of school for other reasons typically become pregnant shortly after dropping out, while students who are involved in school activities are less likely to become pregnant. In a research study conducted over 11 years, the researchers found that 136 women out of 1,008 dropped out of school for some reason, and majority became pregnant shortly after dropping out. Lastly, the average age for a teenage pregnancy is 16. Some school programs to prevent teen pregnancy. Teenage prevention programs, which are also known as TPPs, help prevent pregnancy. While teenage pregnancy prevention can vary by school dependent upon the structure and impact of the program, overall teenage pregnancy prevention programs impact students and lower the adolescent rate. These programs consist of teaching contraceptive use, birth control methods, abstinence only, and comprehensive sexuality programs. Not only do these programs impact students by educating them about sex and the impacts of it, but these programs also change the attitudes and views adolescents have towards sex. In a TPP study of teaching abstinence only in the South and Southwest, where we saw before have a higher teen pregnancy rate than versus the other states in the country, researchers found that the students benefited short and long term. For short term, their attitudes, behavior, and communication about sex improved. For long term, sexual intercourse decreased and practicing safe sex increased. Other TPP programs can be effective, like the abstinence only program. On the other hand, these programs are extremely beneficial to students, and funding for them lacks in schools. Educational counselors' role in teen pregnancy. When adolescent young women become pregnant, a lot of different people play roles in the lives of the new expectant mother and father. Most of these young pregnant women are enrolled in schools. Therefore, an educational counselor can play a major role in the transition from adolescenthood to motherhood. The educational counselor's role is to help navigate the soon-to-be mother and father to resources. These resources are, but are not limited to, developing outreach strategies and establishing rapport, addressing career and personal concerns, and using appropriate referral services. In addition, these counselors' roles can dramatically shift from the traditional educational counselor's role. This is because the counselor is not just educating a student in the role of a typical high school student and what the future holds for them. Now the counselor is counseling and advising them in a new path and how they will navigate their career plans based on their current situation. This new role for counselors can be quite challenging and can vary from situation to situation. Now I'm going to discuss some characteristics of teen pregnancy. So some characteristics of teen pregnancy can vary. So a lot of individual, family, and community characteristics have been linked to adolescent childbearing. For example, adolescents who are enrolled in school and engaged in learning, which includes after-school activities, having positive attitudes towards schools, and performing well educationally, are less likely than other adolescents to have or to father a baby. At the family level, adolescents with mothers who give birth as teens or whose mothers only have a high school diploma are more likely to have a baby before age 20 than the teens whose mothers were older at birth or who had attended at least some college. In addition, having lived with both biological parents at age 14 is associated with a lower risk of teen birth. At the community level, adolescents who live in wealthier neighborhoods with strong levels of employment are less likely to have or to father a baby than adolescents in neighborhoods in which income and employment are more limited.